Hello, everyone. And now we're talking about there's a little bit continue with Lily had about yesterday, July 2nd. Once when they're talking about the bank, the debt of Chinese bank is about 290% of the GDP. So the first half of 2020, and Chinese families' debts already went 380 billion. Next, American Supreme Court support Atlanta states for the voting law. So against the illegal mailing ballot, against the illegal hacking. So that's the Supreme Court is 6-3. So they can't have an illegal vote or illegal mailing ballot. So on July 1st, and Miles Guo also mentioned about Ray Chengang's stroke. Say a joke. It's actually the fact that Ray Chenggang was one of the CCTV's anchor. So he was, when he got on there, before he got on there, he has to kind of slept with a 74 years old lady who he thinks the first thing he couldn't bear is she put her hand in his mouth, and he think if he can bear that, he can get to CCTV, but he did later. So later on they met every week. Later on become 2 to 3 times every week, and he has a hard time to bear it. And so he got some other young woman instead. Now on July 3rd, Miles Guo's and getters said that there's a 3 group inside CCP. We think C is lost. On American time, July 3rd, Miles Guo's 2-letter getter video. First of all, talking about North Korea, flipped with CCP, and due to the centennial celebration, and Kim Jong-un has want to have a fight with CCP in the international court. And because CCP gives them oil and food and grains, the grains is not good quality. So Kim Jong-un asked 8 billion US dollars refund. And there's 2 dead body in Shanghai, and 1 in Shanghai, 1 in the close to North Korea. CCP really mad as well. Why you North Korea always blackmail us? And the result is really bad. How are they going to solve that? Let's keep watching. Next, Putin and North Korea and other 2 countries in Middle East or some country in Africa, they should show up in the CCP centennial, but they invited, I think, but they didn't show. Yeah, and nobody, even Putin even Putin didn't send a representative either, and Putin is end up just has a video chat represent himself, not on behalf of himself, not for the government. So even though he want the CCP and pay all the payment for the natural gas for the rest of the year, and they want to make sure they get the money. Putin want to make sure Russia get paid, and they really think the CCP could die soon. That's why they want to make sure get paid. So all the rest didn't dare to come, and some of them get some money from the CCP, some of them get some product from CCP. And so they just do some trouble on the UN side against US, against imperialism. Now we're talking about Sanguo is one of the Chinese history, so basically one of the emperor died, and the son went up, but once the son was coughed the blood, so the Sima Yi, so one of the guy there pretended didn't know. So it's the same idea on the Tiananmen Square. Everybody see Xi's face, and then they know he doesn't look good. For sure they would act, and that's why Qishan Wang's still there. And do you see any military guys still there? Who those military guys and high security gets the law enforcement, all those high ranking official, where are they? It's big things that happen behind the scene. Just we can't talk about it yet, and most people don't know about it. Chairman Xi have somebody instead of him sometimes, but in that day for sure it's the real himself. But his face is so dark, it's not really good because he was underground was too long. He never coming out. This time we can see his face really dark. Miles Guo said that he had drinking with Xi before. Now his sounds really loud, and his face normally pinkish, and then his hands is really smooth and so-called bare hand. So on July 1st, everybody can see he's not on the good shape. So Jiang group and Hu group, they all acting, and C group and Qishan Wang want to cooperate with Jiang group. If Jiang group and Hu group and Zhu group they act together, then it means the southern China area will be raised up. And then we're left Xi by himself. Who is him? He's just like Guan Gong or Zhang Fei used his courage to get up there. But Zhang Fei and Guan Yu, and in the end they got chopped off head. So Xi will be just like them. So they will be Zhang Fei and Guan Gong was all beheaded in the end. So that could happen to Xi as well. So let's talk about inside CCP, and then internal struggle completely start. Even there's no Xi's poetry on the Tiananmen yet. but at this time Xi is be their real himself and show his show off and to the world, say how scared he is. And this time CCP and Centennial really showing the world what they want to do. Also showing the inside the CCP system, a lot of people and realize the CCP won't last long. Used to be nobody say CCP is over, but this time they say it's about time. When the people cannot get money out of the bank, cannot afford to see doctor, then they will think about it. So one of the Shanghai leader talked to Miles Guo before the CCP and didn't like it, but he's still talking. And this time, Miles Guo said to him, this time the difference with U.S. and the CCP, and U.S. make the Earth become a village, and then they go to the space, developing the space, and to make money from the space. They play with the scientists, but CCP make the whole country become their family. This whole family become one person's and giving the order. One person controls everybody, so everybody has to listen. U.S. making the earth as a village, and there's still Democrats and freedom. But if you make a country become family, only one person control, and then you know who's going to die. And so the dying time is coming soon. Next, American have so many greedy people and evil people, but also have to say American tolerant everybody. Every elites come to American. There's the most intelligence, the most wealth. So everybody come to American. They can criticize American, but in China, they push all the intelligent people away, and they shut you up, they jail you, they kill you, you disappear. If you want to speak the truth and criticize anything, never not alone to criticize the government. So everybody look like a puppet. So you can't telling any truth, and you are not allowed to say anything, to criticize anything. So if even American has a lot of greedy people, but they have the basic respect for the environment, for the human beings, and they are not like CCP. They can kill anybody, anytime, anywhere. And in America, even if you kill a dog, you go to jail. CCP is eliminate all the God. They want to be the God. So they want to CCP also want to destroy all the nature resorts and eat the dog meat. And they eat a percentage, and it's so there's no any future if they still eat a percent. CCP is Centennial. And they put a B-52 airplane, but that's American already had it 10, 20 years ago. Also, the CCP showing up they have aircraft carrier for for the ocean, but U.S. already had in the Qing dynasty. CCP has an automobile. There's no an automobile built in CCP under CCP brand. Even Huawei and go to Fitbit pick. Now the CCP say we have a basic infrastructure, but they never know U.S. built this Manhattan since the Qing dynasty. So CCP just used Jiang Shi to fight with Japanese, killed millions of Chinese people. And then CCP and buy out Jiang Kai-shek and bribe the Jiang Kai-shek party. So that's how they control the China. So they are really good to disturbing inside the group. So over 100 years ago, May 4th movement, they said want to give the freedom like U.S. have. So where it is now. So they will want to give everybody's land after 100 years, and now they want to separate with Western world and completely fight with Western world and fight get rid of Christian. So next. Okay, what's going on here? And next, Lily put some her own opinion. Now talk about North Korea. All those years we've been laughing about North Korea, but North Korea at the beginning developed okay. And now we love it. North Korea is not advanced, and people starve to death. If not CCP gives them food, North Korea will be collapse. But we also know in the last century, beginning of the part, North Korea's GDP even higher than Japan. So also the northern China's industry and with North Korea, they were developed in the same time. So at the time, and North Korea is similar like northern China. After 1953's the war, North Korea industry was keep went up 20%, 25% every year, and so over those years, and North Korea went up 9% to 10%, and it has really good improvement. So in the early 60s, they already all has electronic in the village in North Korea, and then later on they do have automatic machines for the farmer, but 1969 and South Korea not developed as North Korea. Because as former Soviet Union and China helping North Korea, but also they help a little bit, but also North Korea and to use what they are good at it. They also use their own system and to use whatever the good ability they have and try to really use that. after Japan and Russia war. Japan has a good system and helped set up in North Korea, and the same as Northern China. They continue use it at the time. They were using the technology from Japan, the money, and they use their natural resources. And North Korea and North China and those areas developed pretty good, and that's before the war and after the war, and then they got help from former Soviet Union. They were North Korea, and with export oil uh, and mineral, and they can import to whatever they need. So the former Soviet Union and let them join the supply line in that 10 or 20 countries together. And so between 1970s and 1990s, North Korea and developed not bad. So they will kind of join a partially world supply line with the Soviet Union. And go through the former Soviet Union at the time. But later on, when the former Soviet Union collapsed, and they lost that part of supply line, and that's why they're shrinking anything. Also because the Chinese and the Russian and the CCP keep using North Korea as of the number in the chess player. To play chess with Western world. So that's why North Korea is keep asking things from CCP, keep getting help from CCP and Russia. They think they have a reason they are entitled to. After former Soviet Union and collapse, former Soviet Union, about 10 some different countries with supply chain, and so with that's North Korea is not in there anymore. That's why I keep going down. So the trading rate went down 95%. So that's why North Korea getting poor and poor. So let's talk after and CCP's economic reform and why they develop on the ocean shore, because and the manufacturer CCP does mostly will ship to American or Europe, and ship by the sea is more reasonable price. That's why, and they build a factory along the ocean shore will be much cost lower than for them to ship to go to the harbor. So the seashore and is really fast developed. So all those factories like serving to the Europe and North American. So that's like a world factory. But if American kick CCP out of the supply line, then the CCP and going to become a Chinese factory. But Chinese market not consumer not be able to consume all those Chinese people's Chinese abilities for all those manufactured goods. So now we got the Xinjiang genocide and Hong Kong and take over Hong Kong, and virus, and every government would decouple with the CCP. So for sure, every country would take CCP out of the supply chain. So all those factory will be useless. If the factory cannot sell, the merchant will be bankrupt. All those loans those factory have will become a bad debt of the bank, and then will cause a financial crisis. Then we'll have a food crisis. Was the same? China will have a similar situation like North Korea. That's why Mr. Bannon said, is U.S. decouple with CCP of the U.S. currency and financial scientists, the decouple, all that the CCP will be go down in 3 months. But right now, there's all kind of reason. U.S. or some greedy financial group, a big wealthy group, they still haven't really done that yet. But they are aiming on it and decouple for sure with CCP. So for sure will happening soon. Thank you, everyone. I did this too on the same row. See you guys tomorrow. Thank you for 150 people. I don't know, maybe only half. Good night.